Have you ever heard your own voice say something you never said? Not in a recording, not in a video. I mean, your voice speaking from somewhere else, somewhere that isn't now. Because there's a frequency that doesn't broadcast music, doesn't broadcast news. It broadcasts people. And if you ever hear yourself on it, you don't get to change what happens next. You only get to count the hours. They called him Noah, but that wasn't his full name, not the name on his ID, not the name his mother used when she was angry. Noah was just what people online called him, because it was easier than typing a dozen letters. He lived alone, not in the dramatic way people say alone, with tragic backstory and thunder in the distance. Just alone. A small flat, the kind of place where the walls hold heat too well, and the air always smells faintly of dust and old electronics. His hobby wasn't unusual either. He collected radios, shortwave receivers, old police scanners, military surplus boxes that looked like they belonged in a bunker. He liked the idea that the world was always speaking, even when it looked quiet. That if you knew where to listen, you could find voices hiding in the dark. Noah found the frequency by accident. It was a Tuesday night, the kind of night that doesn't feel different until later, when you replay it in your head and realize that everything changed while you were doing something ordinary. Rain tapped on the window. Not hard, just enough to keep the world from feeling empty. He had his receiver on the desk, a mug of cold tea beside it, and his laptop open to a forum thread called Unidentified Band Activity 2003 Archive. Most people in the thread were chasing ghosts, numbers stations, old war transmissions, encrypted pings that meant nothing. But one comment stood out. A user wrote, "If you hear your own name in the static, stop listening." Noah laughed at that. People on these forums loved drama. So he turned the dial, slowly, carefully. The way you turn a lock when you don't want to wake someone sleeping in the next room. Static, a faint buzz, then a gap. And inside that gap, a thin, trembling sound. Not a melody, a breath, a human breath. At first, Noah thought it was interference. The city was full of signals, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, phones, towers that hummed like invisible insects. But this was different. This sounded close, like someone was leaning into the microphone with their lips almost touching it. The static shifted as if it was trying to make room for words. And then a voice slipped through. It was quiet, half swallowed, but clear enough to understand. It said, "Noah, please, listen." Noah froze. Not because the voice said his name. People can pick up names, right? Maybe someone nearby was broadcasting. Maybe it was some prank. But it wasn't just the name. It was the voice. It was his voice. Not similar, not sort of. It was him. The same slight rasp at the end of certain words, the same breath pattern, the same way his voice dipped when he was scared. Noah sat completely still, as if movement might make the sound stop. And the voice continued. "I don't have long. If you're hearing this, then I already messed it up." The static chewed at the edges of the sentence. Then, do not go back to the water. Noah's skin tightened. His throat went dry. Because he didn't live near water. He hadn't been near water in weeks. And yet, his own voice was warning him like it had already happened. Noah did what everyone does when they're terrified. He tried to prove he wasn't. He reached for his laptop, hands too fast, opened audio recording software, and hit record. He leaned close to the receiver. Static hissed. The breathing returned. Then his voice again, more strained this time, as if he was running. "Listen to me. I'm serious. It's not a prank. It's not a..." The sentence broke apart, but a few words came through like teeth. 3 days. 72 hours. That's all you get. Noah's heart thumped once, twice. He stared at the screen. A small digital clock in the recording program showed the time. 01:13 a.m. He looked at the receiver's display. Same time. Then his phone buzzed. A notification. A weather alert. Not important. Except for the timestamp. Noah's eyes caught it and his stomach turned cold. Because the recording program, for just a second, glitched, and the date changed. Not the time, the date. It flickered to Friday, 3 days ahead. Noah blinked hard, and the date snapped back to Tuesday. But he'd seen it, and the voice in the static laughed. Not a friendly laugh, a broken, exhausted sound, like someone realizing the door is closing and they can't stop it.
If you want to hear what happens next, stay with us, keep listening, and don't turn away.